So, lads, this is not a great look for the Indiana Fever organization. If you've got Caitlin Clark, the star of the Indiana Fever, she's going and seeing whatever about not seeing the Indiana Fever's doctors. Like, it is what it is with that. It is what it is. Like, I think a lot of players and teams get second opinions. But if you haven't seen here, Stephanie White says there's no update on Caitlin Clark or potential timeline. She met with another doctor, but White says she hasn't spoken with the trainers.
The Indiana Fever have lost control of Caitlin Clark in a move that signals a complete and total breakdown of trust. The WNBA's biggest star has reportedly cut all communication with the team's trainers, hired her own private medical experts, and is now taking secret meetings with rival teams. This isn't just about another injury. This is about a superstar actively plotting her escape from a franchise that is failing her on every level. We're about to break down the medical mismanagement, the coaching failures, and the secret meeting that proves the Fever are on the verge of fumbling the greatest asset in their history.
Pretty much kind of leaked out the bag to the team that she was kind of going to get a second opinion. To me, an athlete like Caitlin Clark on her level, she should have been getting these second opinions. She should have been hearing from all these other doctors, man. But Stephanie White spoke to the media yesterday. She really didn't give a whole lot, but she did say that Caitlin Clark was in New York meeting with other doctors. Now, with all of that being said, what does the timetable look like to me for Caitlin Clark coming back? I keep telling y'all, around the 17th to the 30th of August.
The final straw came on July 15th during a game against the Connecticut Sun. When Caitlin Clark limped off the court, clutching her right groin in visible frustration, fans saw an unfortunate setback. But behind the scenes, it was a declaration of war. This wasn't just a new random injury. It was the re-aggravation of a problem that sources close to the situation say the team had carelessly rushed her back for Clark, who had built a career on being an Iron Woman. This was the ultimate betrayal. Insiders have reported that after the incident, she made her position crystal clear to team officials, allegedly telling them directly, "I'm getting my own doctors. I'm not using our doctors." With that one sentence, she drew a line in the sand.
She has met with a different doctor. And she won't even give an update to the team. Not, oh yeah, she's met with a different doctor and we're waiting on an update. She's waiting, or not even, well, that's basically it. They're waiting on, she's gone to a different doctor and they've heard nothing.
A wall of silence went up between the franchise player and the franchise itself. This wasn't a player asking for a second opinion. This was a player firing her medical team and seizing control of her own health. In the world of professional sports, this is the nuclear option, a move that signals trust has been so completely shattered that it may be impossible to repair. The Clark's injury on July 15th wasn't just a case of bad luck. It was the final entry in a terrifying logbook of medical failure. For a player who was famously durable, never missing a single game in her iconic 4-year college career at Iowa, her first season in the WNBA has been a medical catastrophe.
News: Caitlin Clark. Following a July 15th injury to her right groin, Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark underwent further medical evaluations earlier this week. The team can confirm that no additional injuries or damage were discovered through the evaluations. Clark will continue working with the Fever medical team on her recovery and rehabilitation, with the priority on her long-term health and well-being. There is no timetable available for Clark's return, and no additional details will be provided at this time. Any further updates will be shared as they become available.
Let's look at the timeline of neglect. It started on May 3rd with left leg soreness. Then on May 26th, she suffered a left quad strain that forced her to miss the first game of her entire basketball career. In June, a left groin injury sidelined her for 5 crucial games.
But the internet noticed something specific that Holly Rowe had to say on the broadcast. Holly Rowe said that before the last return after a quad injury, she had no practice time, which, if that's actually true. Like, if she wasn't practicing, if she wasn't going full speed, then why was she returning to the court? And that's actually something that I pointed out. I believe it was Scott Agnes reported that Caitlin had gone full speed in practice, but there was only one practice that she had gone full speed, and then she returned to play.
And now, the right groin injury. This parade of recurring soft tissue injuries is a massive red flag for any elite athlete, pointing directly to systemic issues in conditioning, load management, and rehabilitation protocol. The most damning piece of evidence came from a broadcast report by veteran journalist Holly Rowe, who revealed that before returning from her quad injury, Clark had almost no full-speed practice time, forcing an athlete whose game is built on explosive movements back onto the court without proper high-intensity preparation isn't just a gamble. It's a form of professional malpractice.
Caitlin Clark's team has made it known we are going to be holding her out until she is fully recovered. We are not going to be rushing her back at all. After taking Indiana Fever's advice, eventually Caitlin Clark needs to take matters into her own hands, make decisions for herself, and I believe that's what we are seeing with the team that she now has surrounding her.
What is happening right now in Indiana is eerily familiar to anyone who follows the NBA. It's a situation known as the Kawhi Leonard playbook, a term that sends shivers down the spine of any front office. Years ago, Kawhi Leonard, then the superstar of the San Antonio Spurs, suffered a quad injury. The team's medical staff cleared him to play, but Leonard insisted he was still hurt. A fundamental disagreement turned into a chasm of distrust. He sought his own doctors, stopped communicating with the team, and effectively went rogue, taking his health into his own hands.
The people were speculating that Caitlin Clark injury could be much worse than expected. You know, these type of injuries and the way she's been getting these injuries is not normal to have these strains back to back to back like this. And I said this before, Caitlin Clark's mobility is off, bro. I believe she might have came back too fast from the first. We all know the first one went down around the 25th of May. Then she came back and got re-injured around the 4th of July to the 5th, somewhere up in there of July. And then that brings us until now.
The relationship became so toxic that the Spurs had no choice but to trade away their franchise cornerstone. This is the exact path Caitlin Clark is now walking, by flying to New York to meet with specialists and refusing to share their findings with the Fever staff. She has triggered the same alarm. Head coach Stephanie White's stunning admission that she hadn't even spoken to the trainers about what Clark's outside doctors had found shows a complete breakdown in the chain of command.
The only good news about today is Caitlin Clark is no longer dealing with Stephanie White and these coaches and this Indiana Fever medical staff, trainers, doctors, none of that. She's seeing her own medical doctors, her own team. That's the only good news of today. She has abandoned the Indiana Fever medical staff, and I'm happy about it. She's pulling a Kawhi Leonard, what he did with the San Antonio Spurs, letting it be known, hey, look, I'll get back to y'all when I'm ready. I'm going with my own medical staff. Y'all can beat it, kick rocks, and I stand with you, Caitlin Clark.
When your head coach is left in the dark about the health of your most important player, you don't just have a communication problem, you have an active rebellion. When the Indiana Fever fired Christy Sides and hired Stephanie White, the move was sold to the public as a necessary upgrade to take the team to the next level. But in their quest for a new vision,
the problem of this team is Stephanie White. It's Stephanie White. It's not Caitlin Clark. A great player don't all suddenly sucks. That doesn't happen. It's strategic. And everybody saying that they played better without Caitlin Clark. No. Actually, even this loss, Caitlin Clark gives them a better chance. They're under 500 without Caitlin Clark.
They seem to have forgotten the most crucial element of their success. For all of Christy Sides' supposed flaws, she understood one fundamental, unbreakable rule of basketball. When you are blessed with a generational paradigm-shifting talent, you do not force them into your system, you build the entire system around them.
But this is how it starts in sports. This is how it starts in the NFL. This is how it starts in the NBA. When you start seeing the wheels in motion, there's signs. There's signs before eventually a player gets traded, player eventually marks their next destination, the Indiana Fever, you're on notice. You're on notice. You better recognize what you've got going on, the asset in front of you, and you do whatever you have to do to correct what is happening.
The results spoke for themselves. Historic rookie numbers that shattered WNBA records, a playoff appearance for the first time in years, and sold-out arenas across the country. Coach White, on the other hand, seems determined to fix what was never broken.
Out there. Why Caitlin Clark was injured is a real thing. It's not just because she's a good player and people go hard against her, in my opinion. There's some other stuff going on there. A lot of pressure to put people in seats, to put eyeballs on the game. You come back a little early. Teams, as they should, play hard against her. Some teams go over the line and refs seem to look the other way, in my opinion. You had some of that going on with some other talent in the league as well last year. But this is different. And Stephanie White needs some blame as well. The team seems a little rudderless.
Her public comments about wanting Clark to play more off the ball and integrating her into a more traditional two-ball handler system reveal a stunning, almost arrogant misunderstanding of what makes Clark a phenomenon.
Remember Peyton Manning when he called his own plays? He said, Tony Dungy, you run the defense, I run the offense. That's what exactly needs to happen in Indianapolis. Caitlin Clark is literally Peyton Manning. She should be calling the plays. She should run the offense. And Stephanie White called the defense.
You don't take the ball out of Magic Johnson's hands, and you absolutely do not turn Caitlin Clark into a secondary role player just to satisfy a coach's rigid philosophy. If there was any remaining doubt about Caitlin Clark's future intentions, it was completely obliterated in the bowels of the Barclays Center in New York.
There is a WNBA team that have been very, very, very much in, like, they made it clear that they want Caitlin Clark, or they're eventually going to want Caitlin Clark. Along those lines, they made it very, very clear. And that team is the New York Liberty. I think there is a 50-50 chance Caitlin Clark leaves Indiana after her rookie season. No, after rookie contract is up. Because
following a loss to the Liberty, photos surfaced that should terrify every single Indiana Fever. The images captured Clark and her agent, a key detail in what was clearly a private meeting in the arena tunnel with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello and their star players Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu.
Quote, "This is the first time I haven't felt like a young body that can run around and sprint every day and just continue to do that," Clark said in an event during All-Star Weekend per Glamour. Being a professional athlete, you really have to take care of both your body and your mind. It's been a journey learning about that.
Let's be perfectly clear, this was not some casual post-game pleasantry. When an agent is present for a deep discussion with the coach and star players of a rival team, that is not a chat, it is a business meeting. It is, for all intents and purposes, tampering in plain sight. The optics were a dagger to the heart of the Fever franchise. While they were fumbling her medical care and trying to rein in her talent, a championship-caliber organization was already making its pitch. The message was unmistakable. If Indiana wouldn't build a kingdom for its queen, another franchise was already rolling out the red carpet. This brings us to the uncomfortable truth that the Fever front office and its fan base need to accept, and fast. Caitlin Clark owes Indiana absolutely nothing. She has already delivered on every single promise, and then, in less than one season, she brought them sold-out crowds in every city, record-breaking national television ratings that have elevated the entire league, millions upon millions of dollars in revenue, and a level of national relevance the franchise has never known. In return, what has the organization given her? A parade of preventable injuries, a coaching staff that seems determined to limit her impact, and a medical team she so profoundly distrusts that she's been forced to go outside the organization to protect her own body. They seem to operate under the delusion that Clark should adapt to them, when the reality is that a player of her magnitude is the system. She should be calling plays like Peyton Manning did for the Colts, another Indiana legend who was given the keys to the franchise. Beyond the on-court chaos and broken trust, there is a cold, hard number attached to Indiana's incompetence. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just a media narrative, it's a multi-million-dollar economic engine that the Fever seems perfectly willing to stall. When Clark is on the court, the team's attendance, TV ratings, and merchandise sales skyrocket to levels never before seen in the WNBA. When she is sidelined due to these recurring, mismanaged injuries, that engine grinds to a halt. The team isn't just losing games, they are losing ticket sales, national interest, and sponsor dollars. The numbers don't lie, the Fever are a significantly better team with her on the floor, going from a lottery team to a legitimate playoff contender. Without her, they are mediocre at best. Each game she misses is a financial loss not just for the Fever, but for the entire league that has hitched its wagon to her star. The franchise isn't just being negligent with her health, they are committing financial malpractice by jeopardizing their single greatest asset. The most tragic part of this entire saga is that Caitlin Clark is in the absolute prime of her athletic life. At 23 years old, she should be focused on building a dynasty, not fighting with her own team's trainers and coaches. These are the years where championship legacies are forged. This is the window where a franchise should be meticulously building around their superstar, adding the right pieces and making deep playoff runs. Instead, the Indiana Fever is squandering this precious time on basic remedial issues like proper medical care, and Coach Clark herself has admitted to the toll the professional schedule has taken, saying, "This is the first time I haven't felt like a young body that can run around and sprint every day." That vulnerability is exactly why a competent, world-class support system is non-negotiable. While the Fever struggles to figure out fundamentals, organizations like the New York Liberty are watching, knowing they could provide the championship-caliber environment she deserves. Every game Clark spends on the sideline isn't just a loss for Indiana, it's a monumental waste of a legend's prime years. What we are witnessing is not just an athlete at odds with her team, we are watching a superstar fight a war on two fronts. She is in a battle with a medical staff that has failed her and a coaching philosophy that threatens to neutralize her. The choice for the Indiana Fever is brutally simple. Recognize that you have a once-in-a-generation talent and do everything in your power to support her, even if it means cleaning house. Or continue on this path of incompetence and go down in history as the franchise that was handed a legend and fumbled her away. Because right now, every misstep, every vague press release, and every silent treatment is another nail in the coffin of their future. The clock is ticking, and Caitlin Clark's patience has officially run out.